my favorite holiday. Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome into First Take, and appreciate you spending part of your holiday here with us on First Take. I'm Molly Karam here holding things down in Bristol, and I want to wish a very happy Thanksgiving to my guys, Stephen A. and Max Kellerman and their families. Good morning, gentlemen.
What up, what up, what up? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
It is the greatest holiday in the world. And you know, what else can you say? Fried turkey, by the way. I heard your conversation with Cannell. Fried turkey is the best on Thanksgiving. No ketchup.
I'm with you, Max. No question.
Listen. It's the 3 F's, y'all. Family, football, and food. Actually, let me put the food before football, because the food comes first. No. It's family, food, and football. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
1 F, fried turkey.
Amen. Let's get into it. Speaking of football, guys, it's no secret. America's team has been on a tear. After losing to the Giants week 1, the Cowboys rebounded the following week with a division win against the Redskins. Now, that victory jump-started a 9-game winning streak today. Dak Prescott will face an NFL team twice for the first time in his young NFL career. As for Washington, they've been hot, too, winning 6 of their last 8, and Redskins corner Bashaud Breeland recognizes the opportunity and getting a second crack at Dak, saying this: "We went into the first game against Dallas blind. It's hard to defend your enemy when you don't know what's coming. Now we know how to handle it and counterbalance it." Stephen A., is this the weekend the accident happens for those Dallas Cowboys?
Yes, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes on this Turkey Day, on this Thanksgiving Day. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going down. Now, obviously, I was a little bit reticent. Some trepidation kicked in when this rookie, Kelly, opened his big mouth and started talking about how they're the cowgirls and stuff like that, because I think Dak Prescott is a stud. I think Ezekiel Elliott is a stud. I know that offensive line is a stud. And I was relatively concerned about it, no question about it in my mind, because I said, excuse me, some rookie running back running his mouth just because he had a 137-yard rushing performance against that no defense that exists in Green Bay. He's sitting there sticking out his chest and feeling himself a little bit. I got a little bit nervous, but then I had a day to reflect on it and what have you, and to think about things. And then I sat up there and I listened to my man Michael Irvin basically putting it out there how it's good for the Dallas Cowboys to lose a game before these playoffs begin, because we don't want to run into the playoffs, just run the table for the rest of the season, because that'll amplify the level of pressure that's going in Dallas's direction. So who am I to disagree with the playmaker? I mean, if you're going to lose a game, why not lose on Thanksgiving Day? 3 days rest, because you did play Sunday, just like the Redskins played on Sunday. You beat this team early in the season when some people think you should not have been, even though Dak Prescott came and handled his business in that fourth quarter. But in the end, I'm thinking about Kirk Cousins and the way that he is playing. And we will talk about him a little bit later on in the show, by the way. You got Kirk Cousins, okay? You got Kelly, who can run the football. You got Garcon, even though we don't know whether or not Deshaun Jackson is going to be available. I think he will be. Jordan Reed, Vernon Davis, the offensive line relatively protecting Kirk Cousins. I think that the Redskins will find a way to win this game. And I think it's going to be relatively high scoring. I can see the Redskins winning this game. I'm going to pick them to win 35-30 at Texas Stadium, Jerry's billion-dollar playpen. That's what I see going down today, because the Redskins offense is going to find a way to get it done, plain and simple.
I take no pleasure in saying this, but you're wrong. I wish you were right, but you're wrong. The Cowboys are going to win this game. They're at home, and the bigger deal here, and by the way, Washington's complaining. They had to play the late game on Sunday, the whole thing. But the bigger thing here is, as I say all the time when we talk about the NFL, there are only a few actually good teams, fundamentally good teams, and only a few fundamentally bad ones. Most of them fall in the middle somewhere, and usually the ones with the better records have gotten a little lucky. I'm not saying Washington's a bad team. They're a fairly typical NFL team that's maybe gotten a little bit lucky. The Cowboys, I hate to say it, are an actually good team. They're really good. They're one of the handful of teams that have distinguished themselves from the rest of the NFL. And they're at home. And you know what it's going to mean when you play Dak Prescott the second time? It's going to mean you sit there and go, damn, he really is good. It's not just that we didn't see him before. This guy can play. He's a stud. You've seen that since the first game in the preseason where you were able to watch him. it was obvious that's a good player, and he's just gotten better and better and better. I know Cousins coming off that big game against the Packers. They're a hot team right now, but Stephen A., a high-scoring game against this Cowboy. It's not even really against the Cowboys' defense, which has been very good against the run, by the way, and that's been a big key to the Washington success recently, opening up the passing game, etc., for Cousins. The key is the offense. How do you have a high-scoring game when this Dallas offense is playing ball control with Ezekiel Elliott behind that offensive line? How do you get a high-scoring game?
Well, I think you're going to get a high-scoring game because I think that the Redskins are going to give up some points, but at the same time, they're going to retaliate. They're going to answer by putting up some points themselves. And quite honestly, I think the Dallas Cowboys have played better on the road by and large since Jerry World has opened up than they do on their home turf. I can see them on a day like today where they're a bit suspect. 3 days rest. It's a heated rivalry. We all know that. Dak Prescott and those boys doing those things, but I could see the Redskins pretty much stacking the line of scrimmage, trying to take away the running game and daring the Dallas Cowboys to beat them through the air. I could see the Dallas Cowboys obliging because Dak Prescott, Des Bryant, Cole Beasley, who had 5 receptions for 75 yards in their first meeting, I could see them making some noise. But in the end, the rivalry is what it is. It's always tough. You know, when these two teams go up against one another, actually not always, but most of the time, it's very, very tough. It's very, very hard to see one team running away from the other in a heated rivalry of this nature. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be a tough. But I think some breaks is going to go somebody's way. And on this particular day, I think it's going to go the Redskins' way. Plus, I'm allergic to picking the Cowboys unless I absolutely have to because it's too obvious. I don't think this is obvious. I think this is something that could be nip and tuck. I think this could be a thriller. And I could see the Dallas Cowboys messing themselves up at some key pivotal moment for the Redskins to walk away with this victory. I'm rolling with the Redskins. I believe they will get it done.
Listen, you know, you always say a broken clock is right twice a day. I'm hoping that you're right about this twice a season, or twice more at least this season since their first loss to the Giants, because you say this a lot of weeks, but the accident doesn't seem to be happening, Stephen A. They're fundamentally a good team. And by the way, the Ravens tried, they dared Dak Prescott to beat him from the pocket, and guess what he did? He beat him. Hooking up with Des Bryant, by the way, who's made an enormous impact.
They also scored just 17 points. Don't compare the Ravens to the Redskins offensively because we know they're not in the same stratosphere.
Okay, but they're a lot better defensively. A lot better defensively. And Dak was able to put up 27 on them. I mean, listen. Eventually, what does an accident happening to the Cowboys even mean? They lose a game? I'll define accident waiting to happen for the Cowboys. They got to lose before Week 13. The Giants have to keep winning, and then the Giants have to beat them on Week 13 to take the lead in the division because they would own both games against the Cowboys plus have the same record. That would be an accident.
About the Giants.
Well, I'm saying that would be an accident. But just losing
with your Redskins.
But that's what I'm saying. That's an accident. Or the Cowboys get all the way to the playoff. You know, they do win the division, and then they lose in their first game. That's an accident. Even if they did lose to Washington, that's not an accident happening. That's just like the second loss of the season. But I don't even see that. I think the Cowboys take care of business at home today in a great slate of Thanksgiving Day games, by the way.
Well, first of all, as expansive as your vocabulary is, Max Kellerman, leave the definition of an accident waiting to happen for me. Don't try to redefine it. I will define it. I say an accident waiting to happen when I talk about the Dallas Cowboys. It means that at the worst possible moment, something will get in their way. It doesn't even have to be anything on the field with these guys. It's always something at the most inopportune of times to sort of ruin their seasons. A loss is not necessarily an accident waiting to happen per se, but how you go down may very well be the case. And we never know with the Cowboys. We never, ever know. And that's what I love about it. That's why I'm sitting back here and just waiting on this Thanksgiving Day, on this Turkey Day, when everybody in Dallas Cowboys Nation is always hyped. Because for some reason, they're the ones, along with the Lions, are the ones that play every Thanksgiving Day. And you got the Thursday night, you got the late night game, which is the Steelers and the Colts. But for the most part, obviously, every Thanksgiving, it's the Detroit Lions and it's the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not sure they deserve that. They certainly haven't deserved that in recent memory. They do now. But with Cowboys Nation all hype, looking forward to watching them win yet another game, go for their 10th straight and all of that other stuff. This is kind of the perfect day to mess up everything for the Cowboy fans out there. It would, I mean, could you imagine how Cowboy fans are going to feel if on Turkey Day, on Thanksgiving Day, during the holidays, with everybody hanging around one another at the television and beyond, and all of that stuff, with family members coming from all over the place, and then to watch the Cowboys ruin things
so
by losing?
It'd be
I can
so
see
good.
the Cowboys doing that.
I've never rooted harder.
I have no problem with that.
I've never rooted harder for you to be right, but given that quarterback, Dak Prescott, that offensive line, that running back, Ezekiel Elliott, those receivers, the rapidly improving defense throughout the year, particularly against the run, which is elite, and they're at home, I'm afraid, as usual, you're wrong.
As usual, really? Please.
All right, let's leave it there. Stephen A. with the upset pick. Dallas is favored by 6. We'll get into the other 2 NFL games on our Thanksgiving slate in just a bit. But first, gentlemen, to the association. Yesterday, we asked if it's time to take the Lakers seriously with 8 wins heading into last night's matchup against the Warriors at Oracle. This is what Stephen A. had to say before the game.
The Lakers will get destroyed tonight.
Well,
we
second of back-to-back against the Warriors is not a great format.
It's not about the second of back-to-back. It's the fact that you beat them by 20 when they came to L.A. That's why. It's going to be a bad night for the Lakers tonight. A bad night.
So, as Stephen A. predicted, that annihilation, it happened. Steph Curry led all scorers with 31 points as the Warriors demolished the purple and gold 149 to 106. Max, how are you feeling about those baby Lakers?
Fine. I'm feeling fine about them. By the way, Stephen A., Nostradamus, it doesn't exactly take a genius to look into a crystal ball and see that the Lakers were going to get slaughtered at Oracle, second of back-to-back. Well, of course, everyone knew they were going to lose that game big. Of course they did. You blame it because they're playing them against. You didn't say they were going to get slaughtered. I know that. You said it. Who needed to say it? Of course, it's obvious. Go
ahead.
I needed to tell you they were going to listen. Second of back-to-back on the road in the NBA is the biggest lock in sports betting. Like every professional gambler knows it. If a team is playing the second of back-to-back on the road, they're like 70-something% likely to lose. And that's got to be like more than a 10-point difference in terms of how efficiently the team usually scores and how many points they allow. I would take off at least 10 points from a score going in knowing the team's playing the second of back-to-back. But it's not just that. On the road. It's that Luke Walton's returning home to Oracle. Like, that's a big emotional deal. It's that the Lakers waxed them at Staples early in the season. You know the Warriors are looking for revenge. It's that the Warriors are either the best or second best team in basketball. We all know that in spite of the Clippers' record. They're a bomb squad. Of course they're just a better team than the Lakers. It's that a guy like Nick Young, who steals his teammates' pass, travels, and then gets credit for the game winner the next night on the second of back-to-back on the road. That dude ain't showing. None of these guys showed up for that game. But that's the league. Second of back-to-back on the road, you are going to lose, usually big. And if you're playing the best team in basketball, arguably, and you wax them and embarrass them by 20 early in the season, and you have your coaches, their former assistant coaches, like everyone's up for the game, yeah, no kidding they're going to get slaughtered. The baby Lakers are going to be fine this season. They're going to win about as much as they lose.
Well, first of all, I want the audience out there, America out there, we really appreciate Spot Kellerman giving us that breakdown. So logical, so unemotional, so pragmatic. It's just beautiful to hear you articulate your thoughts on basketball in such pragmatic fashion. I'm so touched by it. I really am. Here's the reality, Max Kellerman. It's not about them getting slaughtered in terms of losing to a superior team or whatever. What did I say to you about the Lakers in terms of why I'm not sold on them just yet? Just pump the brakes and think about this. Max Kellerman, forget the fact that they lost by 40 points. Forget the fact that Kevin Durant and those guys looked absolutely something. Kevin Durant, we'll talk about them a little bit later. He looks sensational. I mean, averaging 27 points on 57% shooting on this season. This is the kind of stuff that I was complaining about when he decided to go to Golden State. The dude ain't even shooting 17 times a game, and he's averaging 27. This is just ridiculous. But we'll talk about him a little bit later. Here's what I want you to pay attention to. Forget the fact that the Lakers lost by 40 and all of that stuff. Dissect why.
Don't think about the back-to-backs or anything like that.
You want an answer, or is that a rhetorical question?
It is a rhetorical question. You've spoken enough. Listen, you got Kevin Durant, you got Steph Curry, you got Klay Thompson, all of whom shot better than 60% from the field, going up against a Lakers team that came into the game ranked 28th defensively. This is my issue with them. I'm saying to you, I'm a big fan of Luke Walton. I ain't worried about him. He's the right man for the job. He'll be just fine. I know they've got young talent on the come up. But when you are young and learning how to play and learning how to win, but you don't play defense, that's a bad sign. Because defense is about effort and it's about coaching. And you know, and to some degree, you know, it's about knowing how to communicate on the floor together. You have to be able to stop people. This Lakers team, if they play defense, they would automatically be a playoff team. Because I think Luke Walton would get them flowing offensively. But when you are ranked 28th defensively, you have limitations. That's my issue with the Los Angeles Lakers. The Warriors aside and all of that other stuff. It's just that defensively, Max, I got huge questions about that.
Of course they're not a good defensive team, and first of all, they don't have a lot of good defensive players. And defense is much more than just effort. It's also knowledge and communication and some degree natural ability, not to the extent maybe offense is, but that also plays into it. The problem with evaluating these Lakers defensively on the second of back-to-back on the road in an emotionally charged atmosphere against the Warriors is the only way to defend against the Warriors is loud and constant communication. Because they have, and Luke Walton was a part of this culture, and he's bringing it to the Lakers now, which is one of the reasons they're successful. They have superstars willing to set off-ball screens. They have unselfish play everywhere. It's one of the reasons that Kevin Durant wanted to go there. He wanted to play with guys like that who are willing to sacrifice in that way. They really have, when they're going well, the Warriors do, an unstoppable offense. There is no stopping that offense. But if you want to stop, if you want to even try to stop it, you have to be energized and you have to communicate more than anything else. And the Lakers just seemed like they didn't want it. They didn't care. They knew they were going to lose. They weren't communicating, and they mailed it in last night. So they lost. They almost gave up 150 points in a basketball game. But that's going to happen to other teams, too. You know, the Warriors, just watch what the Warriors do to the teams playing the second of back-to-back at Oracle.
Listen, I'm on the record, and we'll talk about this later on in terms of how the Warriors have contaminated this season. But let's be clear. 150 damn points? I mean, it's Thanksgiving. So I'm really trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice to everybody but Cowboys fans. I'm not going to be nice to them ever. Anybody but Cowboys fans, anybody but them, I'll try to be nice. But 100, I mean, damn near 150 points? Come on now. I mean, I don't care how bad you play. I don't care that you get blown out. You're not going to see many teams giving up 150 points in 48 minutes of a regulation game, of a regular season game. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I'll say something else about the Lakers. Let me say something else about the Lakers, because when you play at a faster pace, I agree with you about their offense, about their defense, sorry, and the same thing with D'Antoni teams. They just don't care about defense. But the thing to look at is not simply, not defending the Lakers' defensive performance last night. I'm just saying generally. The thing to look at is not simply the number of points you allow. Because in a faster-paced game with more possessions, there will be more points. There will tend to be. The question is your defensive efficiency. And I believe, or I predict, that by the end of this season, the Lakers' defensive efficiency will look a lot better than the actual number of points allowed, because Luke Walton's going to have them playing at a fast pace.
Oh, I'm so touched, Max. You really stepped out on a limb. Hold on, you really stepped out on a limb there. 28th ranked defense in the NBA. By the way, just gave up 149 points. And you're sitting here talking about,
they will improve defensively.
They're going to look better. Really? That's where you're going? I mean, that's really stepping out, Max. That's really stepping out. That's really stepping out. They're going to look better. Can they look much worse? Can they look much worse defensively?
Am I talking to the hot take expert who predicted boldly yesterday that the Warriors would beat the Lakers big at home, second of back-to-back on the road for the Lakers? Am I talking to that guy?
Actually,
let me get my oven mitts ready for that hot take.
If you don't mind, I would appreciate it if you call me by my real name. It's not Nostradamus. It's Stephen Naismith. Stephen Naismith. That works better. I like that. I like that. It's not Nostradamus. It's Stephen Naismith. Okay, that's all right. I'm just saying. Let's get it right. Let's get it right.
All right. So the Lakers will get the Warriors again Friday for the rubber match at Staples. We'll see if the home cooking helps them out. And now, what, Stephen A? Yes,
Molly, by the way,
yes.
that Stephen Naismith only applies to the regular season and the playoffs. Don't get me into my finals predictions. They've been awful because I get emotional come to NBA finals. I get emotional.
No.
That doesn't count.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Wait, I just want to get this straight. So you're like that dude who you're Clayton Kershaw. You're really good until the people need you the most, and then you choke. What's up with that?
They don't need me the most during the finals. No, it's not during the finals.
I always figured you'd be a finals performer. No. Damn.
I'm about where I want to be. I'm about where I want to be at the finals. I'm about my social life.
Don't worry, everybody.
He's a Peyton Manning, Max. He just does the regular season. No humble pie on this show. All right, we've covered one of today's 3 NFL games. Coming up, we'll break down the others. No Andrew Luck for Ben Roethlisberger to outduel. So is this a must-win for the black and yellow? Stephen A. Steelers will tell you that next. And just 3 weeks ago, the Lions got the best of Sam Bradford as the Vikings won in overtime. Will the Vikes get